What's up, DAW Nation? I don't know how to start this. What's up, DAW Nation? It's been 3 years. How did that happen? What the heck's been going on with DAW Nation? Where have I been? What are the projects that we're working on? Yeah, we're going to talk about it in this episode. Wow, we got a lot to go over. We got a lot to discuss. And frankly, I don't really have a script. I got an outline, but I don't really have a script. So this could be super long. It could be very convoluted. It could be very confusing. But somewhere in this, you're going to get all your answers of what's going on, what we're planning to do moving forward, where I'm at now, because this is a whole different studio. And the counting tally is how many kids do I have now? That's an internal joke now that we got going on. So let's start with some of the questions. So I posed this this questionnaire to the DAW Nation community, and I have some questions. So the first one is, DAW Nation, where the have you been? And I didn't say I said frunk. It's just funnier when I bleep out That's funny. So the last episode of Behind the DAW that we recorded was talking about how we just lost our daughter Scarlett with a miscarriage. And, I was going through a lot of personal struggles at the time with that, as well as trying to fulfill things with DAW Nation, with commitments that we had and stuff like that. DAW Nation world got turned upside down. And, if you want to skip past this to, not deal with the technical side, I totally understand. If you're very interested in what's going on behind the scenes, especially with a company like DAW Nation, here's all the tea, my guy. So what happened right after that? After I recorded that video, so we were working on courses, we're trying to finish them, which, being completely real, making a course is an insane amount of work. Okay, like it's bonkers how much work goes into making a course, because you have to create what we call a roadmap. I'd show you one that I have right now. Probably shouldn't, because it's going to spoil a whole bunch of stuff, but it's a lot of work to create a roadmap. What is the big thing that we're trying to teach? So like, for example, the most recent course that we were working on back when I filmed that video in 2022, but has since been released, which you should totally go check out. It's called the Golden Vocal System. And it's all about Matthew Steeper's tried and true amazing vocal production system that he's used with some of the biggest people in the world. Take that, for example, okay? So Matt comes to me in 2019, so we've been working on this for a long time, right? As far as like conceptualizing it and filming it and editing it and all the stuff. And he says, I want to make this course about vocal production. I'm like, that sounds awesome. And so over time, we kind of flesh it out. What should module 1 look like? What should module 2 look like? What about the chapters or the sub-modules inside of module 1? What about each lesson? What needs to be covered? It takes a lot of work to go over all the concepts that go inside of that. And then we refine it more and more and more. And remember, before, when we were starting on this is before like AI, we didn't have ChatGPT or anything like that to kind of throw ideas at and have it throw back at us. So, we were doing this all like organic manpower. And again, this is with every course. This isn't just with the Golden Vocal System. This is with School, Basscraft, Masterclass, Beat Secrets, like all the stuff, right? It is a ton of work. And then there's the filming of it, right? And let me just say, getting a studio ready to film, insane. Like literally me prepping for recording this right now, it took me like 2 hours to get the lighting right, to make sure they're the right shades. There's not too much on the back of my neck. Like you can see the shot. I can't remember. It's either that one or that one, where you can see like the light on the back of my neck. I had to make it so it could light up the background, but not too much of it. Like it's a lot, right? And then when you have 2 people filming, like me and Crywolf, or me and Matthew Steeper, or me and KJ Soccer, or me and 85, whatever that, like it just times it by 2, and it's insane, right? And so there's that. And then sometimes you have to refilm, right? So maybe you film it, maybe something went wrong, camera turned off, forgot to hit record, whatever, right? Or, things weren't said right, or things could be said better. It's so much work, right? Like it's insane. And that's just the recording part. Then there's the editing part. And the editing part, holy crap, dude. Like it is, put it this way, right? This episode, this video that I'm recording right now, I don't know how long it's gonna be. It's probably gonna be longer than an hour. It's gonna take 5, 6, 7 hours to finish this video, color grading, editing right, intros, outros, graphic effects, exporting times, all the stuff. It takes quite a while. Now, if you do that for 30 hours, it's insane. It's insane. So that's where I was in 2022, was like, okay, I got to finish these things. I made these commitments to these people that we were going to make courses with. I got to do that. Then, whew. So I guess I should back up a little bit, because in 2020, we released the Serum Masterclass, and that was amazing, but it showed a huge flaw in the system, that we could not keep up with everything, right? We could, like the system that we had internally like the servers were not keeping up with it. Deliverability was not keeping up with it. Our system for customer support was not keeping up with it. Like all this stuff. I'm being really vulnerable right now. Like I'm taking a freaking, black light behind the scenes of DAW Nation, showing you all the little nasties back there. And we need a system to really work. And at the time we were using like we were using 3 different softwares just to deliver it. That doesn't even take into account like video hosting and email marketing. And we had like maybe up to 10 at one point, different softwares that we were kind of like spaghettiing together, and they would work most of the time, but there was these huge flaws. And so it really just showed this huge, behind the scenes of DAW Nation. And it's like, wow, we really got to fix this, and we need to fix this now. That was on the back of my mind too. It's like, okay, like practically and functionally, how do we run DAW Nation? Where's our websites? Where's our videos? How do things get delivered? How do payments get processed? How do we do accounting? It was a lot. It was a lot. Oh, my cortisol is rising just thinking about it. It kept me up at night. Like it was insane. There's all that. So that I'm thinking about that. How do we redesign the website so it makes sense? And it was that was going on. And then the hardest part of it all, right? The part that I talked about most in the last video that really was the knife in the heart was, me and my wife, we felt so strongly that we needed to have another baby, and we were so excited for the baby, and we lost the baby. I'm not going to go super deep into that. You can check out the last episode if you want to know more about that. But that was a real knife to the heart when that happened. Fast forward a little bit, and we find out we're pregnant again. And there isn't a person on this earth that was more surprised than I was about that. That was like crazy. And my wife got so sick, it was to the point where she had hyperemesis and she was deathly ill. And to the point where, she went 10 days without eating. She lost like upwards of 30 pounds. We were in and out of the hospital. It was insane. It was like life-threatening. It was, oh gosh, it was terrible. And then she got better. Baby came, amazing. So this would be our 4th baby. That's incredible. He's incredible. He was the caboose to the family, exactly what we needed. I have so many children. It's insane. And so once he's here, I'm continually working on DAW Nation. I got a baby in one arm. I'm editing video, of course, videos in the other arm. I'm trying to code a website over here. And, it was just insane. And we're finally getting to the point where like, all right, this is great. We can start running ads again. We can't run ads yet because we don't have a tracking system. We got to spend thousands of dollars getting a tracking system with Google Analytics. It's like, there's just one thing after another. And you can kind of see the sporadic nature of how I'm talking about this. And that kind of defines the last couple of years. It was just the sporadic stuff where here is what you need to do inside of this box. And then there's boxes within the boxes, and there's boxes within those boxes. And you can't tackle those boxes unless you tackle these boxes. You got to be holding the baby the whole time you're tackling those boxes. By the way, we moved to St. George. That was a whole thing. That is just moving and buying a house. What? So there's boxes inside of boxes. We're physically moving boxes down here, plus the psychological, mental boxes. There's so many boxes, okay? And then last September, Kylie's like, I think I'm pregnant. And I'm like, you what? You think you're... What? That's insane. And so, we take a test, and lo and behold, we were pregnant again. 5 babies. Oh my gosh. So she got sick again. It was life-threatening. She lost so much weight. It was so concerning. And so all this time, trying to figure stuff out. I want to relaunch the podcast. I'm trying to get marketing going. I'm trying to finish these websites. Did a whole redesign of every single course, all this different coding. It's just, and that's like the tip of the iceberg. There's like a whole nother like level of stuff inside of there. I've probably shared too much at this point, to the point where you're just like, yeah, it's okay. Why? So let's get past this. Like, let's get to what's going to be happening now. So if you're interested in what happened, behind the scenes, that's what happened behind the scenes. Bonus content about that I forgot to mention. And then I promise we will move on. During all of this, I have been in an insanely deep, this is really personal. This really has nothing to do with DAW Nation, but we're here. This is what the podcast is about, is being real and vulnerable and authentic and talking about the hard things. Shortly before I recorded the video in 2022 about my daughter, I entered into the deepest faith crisis of my life. And I have been struggling with that ever since, and trying to understand what I believe and trying to reckon with very hard theological concepts that have to do with my religion. I'm not really going to go too deep into that in this podcast, because that just doesn't really make sense in this space. But it's been really hard to have your faith system flip upside down, for you to question the things that you have believed to be true for all of your life. And it's been really difficult. And so throwing that into everything else that's been going on for the last 3 years, and another piece of bonus content, again, that I don't really like to talk about. I've kind of talked about this a little bit before in the podcast, just because it's part of the things I've struggled with. But during all that, in 2023, my dad died. And that was, for those who listen, know that I have an extremely complicated relationship with my dad. And so that was very, very complicated and hard to process. And so just take all those things that I said, trying to continually make products, trying to figure out how to deliver them, running a business, working with a whole bunch of people, recoding, literally learning how to code to rebuild the website the way that we needed it to be, figuring out all those systems, getting pregnant, not me getting pregnant, my wife getting pregnant, 2 more times after we lost our 3rd child, and moving and faith crisis and all that. And here we are, and that's just like the super big overview of what's been going on. And all this time, again, being vulnerable, I felt like an absolute failure when it comes to DAW Nation. And I'm not saying this to, oh, poor Wyatt. No, it's more so it kind of shows the heart of what the Behind the DAW podcast is, as well as DAW Nation is, which is real and authentic, and being vulnerable about your feelings. I know most of the time we talk about it in the context of music, but it's also just, in relation to your life, and being real about what's going on and not feeling like you have to hide these things. And so, yeah, it's been a lot. It's been a lot. And I saw something the other day. I'll put it up in this video if I can find it. So if you're listening, I apologize. You're probably not going to see it. But it was a chart that shows the difference between motivation and consistency. And so motivation, you have this like huge spurt that goes, really high and really intense, really fast. And then it quickly tapers off and it gets a little, smaller and smaller and smaller. And then there's consistency. And consistency it's much smaller than the initial like jump in motivation, but it just keeps going over, it just keeps going. And that consistency, even if it's lower, beats out the sporadic high-term motivation. And I feel like that's how I can define DAW Nation for the last couple of years, because that is exactly what I've been doing. I have been coming into the studio, into the office every single day for anywhere between 8 to 12 hours and just grinding. And I didn't stop. And I always worked on what was in front of me and what needed to be done next. And I tried my hardest to delegate, and I tried my hardest to do it in a way that was sustainable. And I had to pivot and change when I needed to, but I never stopped. I know, we had to take a break from the podcast and everything, but I never stopped. I've been in here grinding all the time. And so I hope that answers the question about where the have I been? Again, I said frunk, not which is so, wow. You can tell I've been in here all by myself for way too long. So that was the first question. Moving on to the second question now that was asked by a fan of DAW Nation. The second one is Behind the DAW coming back for real this time? And the answer is yes. And not only behind the DAW, but in the DAW. So we have developed a system now for much more consistent releasing of these podcast episodes, and to make them even more valuable. We are going to be releasing them. Right now, it's planning about 2 times a month, working towards 4 times a month. So once every other week, working towards once per week. Sometimes it will just be me. I will be interviewing other people. I will be interviewing music producers, singers, songwriters, music industry experts, all that kind of stuff that we talked about before. I'll also be bringing in people that aren't necessarily in the music industry but can add, tons of value to your music. So for example, bringing in authors, having them give like a quick masterclass on how to, I probably shouldn't say masterclass because that refers to like paid products, and these authors showing how to use storytelling techniques inside of your songs to keep them more engaging. Stuff like that, creating universes, authors that create these like huge, how do I say this? I've been in this studio alone for too long. I'm forgetting words. How to take concepts of creating an entire universe, an entire world, and creating that into your music brand. Like I'm going to be doing that too. So yes, so as far as behind the DAW goes, it's back, and behind the DAWs are way easier to film than in the DAWs. But we're also going to be releasing in the DAWs. Their release schedule is I'm still not 100% sure about that. That'll probably be around once per month because they are so intense to film and edit and all that kind of stuff and get the technical side right. I remember a couple years ago, it was an episode that we did with Away that never came out. Still trying to figure out what to do about that. That's heartbreaking. But there was an enormous amount of technical difficulties that happened over multiple days. Just to give you a behind the scenes look into what that actually looks like. Like it's a lot. It's a lot to film those things where, a podcast is a bit easier. We just show up. It's just our faces talking. Where in the DAW, it's a lot. Is it back for real this time? Yeah, it's back for real. And I'm not 100% sure of what I'm going to be doing with Oh My DAW. That's kind of been the My series, Wyatt series, and I don't really know what to do about that. I thought about like turning that into just like a catch-all. Like Serum 2 just came out. I'd love to do an episode just talking about Serum 2 and like what's new and what's exciting and stuff like that. That doesn't really fit within behind the DAW or in the DAW. So that kind of falls within the Oh My DAW. If I want to make, like a meme episode, like a Mr. Beast style one, like, with some of the other episodes that we've done with Oh My DAW before, I want that to be Oh My DAW. So I don't really have that fully fleshed out right now. I'm still trying to figure that out. I'd love to know your thoughts. Tell me, give me ideas. I'd love to know. All right, so moving on to the third question now, which is, what's different about DAW Nation now? That is a good question. I think I answered that mostly in those first two questions, but to really, put the nail in the coffin, really, what are the other sayings? Beat the dead horse? Wow, these are all morbid. To really make my point clear, we have far, 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 far better systems. And DAW Nation, like that's what DAW Nation is built off of, is systems. And if you're brand new and you still don't know what systems are, to the DAW Nation family, it is a step-by-step process that gives you a result every single time. Like the golden vocal system. It's the system to give you industry standard vocals. Step 1, do this. Step 2, do this. Or the Cry Wolf Masterclass. It's his system for creativity. If you're struggling with creativity, step 1, do this. Step 2, do this. School of Bass. It is AU5 system for sound design. Step 1, do this. Step 2, you see what I'm saying? And so now DAW Nation internally, so like for creating podcasts, creating courses, or creating episodes, or social media content, or anything like that, reaching out to people, customer service, we have such better systems now that we have paid for in our blood, sweat, and tears. The sustainability for DAW Nation now is so much greater. It's so much better, right? And so that is different. As far as courses go, the strategy with DAW Nation so far, at least, prior to where we've been, is been to scale horizontally. And so if you don't know what that means, so there's two different ways to scale. It doesn't matter if we're talking about a business like DAW Nation or if we're talking about a music career. There's a horizontal scale and there's a vertical scale. The horizontal scale means that you just keep putting out new things. In your case, it'd be putting out new songs. In my case, it'd be putting out new packs and courses and stuff like that. The vertical scaling is when you don't put out as much, but you really hammer home on trying to make that one song or that one course really like go to the heights of where it's supposed to be. Someone who does this really well, by the way, not necessarily in the EDM space, is Connor Price. He is insanely good at releasing a song and promoting that song to no end. I'm going to do a case study about him one day. He is insane the way that he can make one song and have tons of social media content that is very engaging and very amazing that just markets that one song to the moon. It's incredible. There's inherent problems with both of them, with scaling horizontally and scaling vertically. If you scale horizontally, then you never fully commit to that one thing and you just keep moving on to the next thing. And even though it could have really blown up or really made an impact, you just move on to the next thing. If you scale vertically, you just focus on that one thing and you kind of like hyper focus on it, and it never really, you want to move on to the next thing, but you can't because you're just focusing on that one thing. And people are like, okay, we get it. Like, you got that one song, you got that one course. What else you got? We need something new. And so it's this balance between vertical and horizontal. And so I just did that backwards. Sorry. Horizontal and vertical. If you're watching, you understand. If you're listening, but you didn't see my mistake. Anyways, Then there is diagonal, which is the best of both worlds. You're consistently putting things out and you're consistently giving each thing that you're giving out the life and breath that it deserves. And finding that balance is ridiculous. I mean, that is the $1 million question of how do you do that? And that is what I've been trying to figure out for the last couple of years, because we have primarily just been scaling horizontally, very, very little vertically. But that's the next thing is, yes, so there are going to be things that are going to continue to come out. That is absolutely true. And I'm going to be making sure to give the courses and the packs and the products that we have the life and breath that they deserve. And to continue in the vein of being vulnerable and open, there has been, I kind of mentioned it in the last, or not in the last episode. Was it last episode? One of the last episodes I recorded about, I believe it's called DAW Nation Marketing Revealed. I was talking about it's kind of like showing behind the scenes what DAW Nation marketing looks like and why we do what we do. And being open to change some things and being open to revisit how we market and seeing things that, don't really resonate with our audience. And so I've kind of taken that feedback and been like, okay, I am a marketer, I'm a business guy. And so I know things that work with marketing, but right now, some of these things that I don't really consider to be bad are coming off as bad to the people that we're marketing. And it's rubbing them the wrong way. I'm not blaming them. I'm not necessarily saying that it's bad, but I get it. I can see why people who don't understand the marketing world and stuff like that don't like these things. So how can we change that? How can we change that? I don't want to alienate anyone from that. And so that's another thing is that our marketing has been revisited, how our funnels work and how we do upsells and stuff like that. And so that's been revisited. And, I'm just doing this in full transparency. I do listen. I listen to everyone that's talking. And so I'm trying to find this middle ground of being like, okay, I still need to market. I still need to sell. I still need to, put stuff out that really helps people and frame it in a way that's going to be the most helpful. And I want to be cognizant and aware and compassionate towards people that really get turned off by marketing. And how do we do that? Maybe changing our marketing strategy a little bit, seeing if that works better for you. I'm open to it. I'm not closed-minded. I'm not a hardliner. Yeah. And the fourth question that we have, which is kind of just, with these questions, there's a lot more than just these questions I have. Just kind of amalgamated them into like categories. But this next question that we have is, how can I be a part of DAW Nation moving forward? So really, there's really two big ways that you can be a part of it. The first one is getting on our email list. It is super easy to do. Go download any of our free downloads. We have like 1 billion free downloads. Go download any of these, and I promise you'll be on the email list. The second way is to be a part of our Discord. I haven't been super active with that. The DAW Nation community has always been active in there, which is incredible to see even after like 3 years of me just grinding in my office alone, that's still been going. That's incredible. So go be a part of the Discord. It's super easy to find. I'll put some free downloads down in the description as well as the Discord link so you can check that out. If you're listening, come to one of the videos, I guess. There's too many links for you to remember. So anyways, yeah, just check the description and you'll find those links. And that's how you can get on the email list and get into the Discord. The next question, the fifth question, is what's next for DAW Nation? So I've kind of answered that question along the way, but in summation, we're back. We're recording episodes of Behind the DAW and in the DAW very consistently. We're going to be consistently releasing products, but focusing more on that diagonal scaling. I'm interested in making DAW Nation better in ways that you suggest. I don't know everything. I come up with a lot of ideas. Most of them fall flat and they're not very good. But if you have ideas, DAW Nation is a nation. It is a community. That's like at the core of it all. And I love the community. So if you have ideas, different series or for people to come on or different products or whatever, that's awesome. That's what I want, and figuring that out, I can't do it alone. I need you. And so hopefully that's a good summation of, what's next for DAW Nation. The final question that we have is, are you doing any coaching or mentoring? Oh my guy, I got some news for you. So the short answer, yes. I can't really reveal everything with that right now, but we are working something on the back end that is, it is so cool. It is so cool to be able to allow you to have one-on-one time with these big music producers. And not just with the people that we've worked with, definitely with the people that we worked with and providing a platform for that, but so many other people. I can't explain too much of it right now. That's another thing that's been keeping me up at night, is how to actually like technically do that, like in the sense of coding the website and all that kind of. Anyways, so yes, there's stuff like that that's coming on. Something that has been in the back of my mind for years at this point, that I don't know how I would implement it yet, but it's still there, slow cooking, and I'm not ready to do it because there's so many other things I need to do first. But it's creating like a really amazing, systematic, easy to follow course of marketing your music. You know, I bring that up a lot in podcasts. That's all I do most of the time, is just market and understanding ads and understanding, you know, just all the stuff that comes along with marketing, which is not well documented inside the music industry. Not very many people know how to do it or know how to do it well. And so, you know, creating like a marketing course specifically for music producers and singers and songwriters is like, that has been in my mind this entire time, because that is the absolute biggest number one question that I get when people talk to me. How do I make money doing music? How do I make my brand blow up? How much should I invest in boosting my Facebook post? Spoiler alert, 0. Don't do that. That's stupid. But see, like, there's just stuff like this that people don't know. The music industry is a laughing stock when it comes to marketing. And I'm not saying that to make fun of the music industry. I'm saying that because whenever I talk to people outside of the music industry and they look inside the music industry, they're just like, what is going on? No one knows what they're doing. You know, like, it just, not just, you know, the artists, but like, it's so, I've talked about that ad nauseum in other podcasts. I'm not going to go into that. Anyway, so working on a marketing course, something like that. That's been really, really, it's been on my mind. I don't know how I'm going to implement it, but I'm going to do that. So now that we got those questions out of the way, I have ideas. I have ideas of how to make Behind the DAW and DAW Nation better, but I want to know your thoughts on these ideas. If you want me to do them, or if you have better ideas or more ideas or different ideas or whatever, I'm very interested. You know, the first big thing that comes to my mind is talking more about AI content. I mean, AI music production and AI music creation, it's not going to go away. It's going to take over. And the people that implement it are going to have a career, and the people that don't are going to fall behind. We're seeing this in virtually every other industry. I know there's a lot of controversial stuff about that, especially with like AI arts and is it stealing from people and which ones are and aren't. And it kind of goes back to the age-old question, what is art and how much of the art do you need to create from scratch? The story about, I didn't want to use these samples because samples are cheating, so I had to go record them, and it gets all the way down to the dude making his own drums out of goat skin, and it's just like, you know, where do you draw that line? Because anywhere you draw that line is complicated. Anyways, I'm interested in that topic, especially when it comes to music, because just like how when DAWs came out and presets came out and plugins and all that kind of stuff, and people said, you know, that is not real music. The same argument is being made now with AI. And so I'm interested in that. I'm interested in hearing different perspectives. I'm interested in hearing the AI maximalists that just want to use AI for everything. And, you know, I want to hear their perspective and the tools that they're using. And then I want to hear the other end of the spectrum, which is there can be no AI. I want to hear their perspective. I want to hear the middle of using AI for some things, not for other. I'm extremely interested in that. I want to bring fans onto the podcast and do like Q&As with them so they can ask me questions, and, you know, for us to connect more like that and just to hear about their beginnings, right? And see where they're at right now, things that they struggle with, or I shouldn't say they, because I'm talking to you, but you're struggling with, what's going on with your life, and what, you know, what you wish you knew to help with your music career. I want that. This isn't so much of an idea because we're implementing it right now, but it's doing as many free downloads as possible. So creating as many free sample packs, preset packs, vocal packs, drum packs, you know, anything like that, anything that's helpful with virtually almost every single episode, and giving those away for free just so that you have free resources, and helping you get on our email list so you can learn when new episodes come out, or if there's new updates with courses or anything like that. That's, you know, I'm trying to implement that right now. Wow, you can tell I'm rusty. It's been a long time since I've recorded a podcast and been succinct, not succinct. What is that, a word? I don't know. Anyways, yeah, I'm very interested in, you know, like when we release new ads for products, talking about that, showing how that works and why they work and what's effective and what's not. And, you know, I'm very interested in that. I'm very interested in I'm very interested in transparency. Okay. Going back to the concept that we talked about earlier with me and my deep faith crisis, one of the biggest things that put me into my faith crisis was the absolute complete lack of transparency. And I think about that not just in a faith sense, but the lack of transparency with relationships, with politics and government and different industries and just stuff like the lack of transparency causes so much distrust and so much pain and so much filling in the blanks with the worst situations possible. And so, I just want as much transparency as possible. I want you to know what's going on behind the scenes at DAW Nation. I want you to know the struggles and the things we're working on, things that are working. I want you to know that, because why not? Really, why not? Why can't I be transparent with everything that's inside DAW Nation so that you can see what works and you can implement it yourself, or you can see what doesn't work and you can not implement it yourself, or you can see something that works and still choose not to implement it, or you can see that something that doesn't work and still try it for yourself. To me, is like the biggest thing with DAW Nation. It's a nation that is with music producers and creatives and singers and songwriters. And we're here to pull back the curtain and show transparency with everything you do. That's what every single episode of Behind the DAW is transparency. We are bringing artists and music producers and singers and songwriters, and they are being transparent with the struggles and their successes and the things that they love and they hate, right? When we're doing In the DAW episodes, it's about transparency, being transparent with what's in the project file. Did the producer create that sample from scratch, or did he or she use a preset, or did they, what did they do? How did they make it? It's all about transparency. I'm kind of having this huge realization right now. I've been thinking about it for a while, but I'm really just putting it into words right now. I want transparency. That's what everything about DAW Nation is. That's what everything about every episode we ever do. That's what the courses are, is having transparency into people's processes and systems. That was a lot. I'm sorry. I got really passionate about that, but just being transparent with what's going on inside of DAW Nation and what we're planning to do. And yeah. Bonus question. Am I having any more kids? No, I'm getting a vasectomy in April. Actually, fun story. I was supposed to get my consultation for my vasectomy 2 days after finding out we were pregnant with our newest baby. Transparency. And honestly, I don't know what else to say. I don't know where else to go from here. So let's ask chat. All right. So I just told chat everything that I have said, or went over the concepts of what I said. Anything else I can go over? Let's see. Transparency. I'm using chat while I'm recording. Wild. Oh, here's a fun little thing that I can tell you that has nothing to do with what we're talking about. Well, kind of, because I was just talking about ChatGPT. Chat, not JAT. Do you guys know about custom GPTs? That's insane. That is bonkers. So if you don't know what that is, this is a nice little tangent. It is where you can take ChatGPT and you can feed it specific information about you or your business or your music or whatever, and create like a custom ChatGPT about your stuff. So I created my own. I call her Zadia, and I have fed Zadia. This is so nerdy. I gave her instructions where I said, okay, Zadia, I want you to have this proverbial Infinity Gauntlet, like from Marvel. And there's going to be the 6 knowledge stones that you're going to put into your Infinity Gauntlet. And each one focuses on a different concept of business. One is about like, I'll pull it up right now. This is so nerdy. I was not planning to talk about this. So I have the business stone, funnel stone, psychology stone, traffic stone, content stone, and the niche stone. I don't know if you want me to go super deep into that. I guess I can do my own like episode about that. That might be interesting. But each one of those stones has like tons and tons of books on the subject, right? Like, for example, the funnel stone has all of Russell Brunson's books, has all the information about funnels. I feed it, like new information about the newest data that comes out about funnels, and it's all inside of there. And then I also have, so I've done that for all the stones, right? So each stone is just a category of a part of the business that is really important to DAW Nation. And then I fed it all the information about my stuff, so being like my business model and all the little intricacies and all the systems that I've figured out. And so now I have like this AI business partner that I can come in and say, hey, I'm thinking about, for example, doing a comeback episode. What do you suggest that I talk about? And that's where I got the idea. You should ask your fans. I'm like, Oh, that's a great idea. Like, I should ask your fans what questions you want. Anyways, so it's incredible. So you could have your own music brand AI business partner. You feed it all, you give it your brand story. Here's the artists that I really look up to. Here's all these books of music business that it knows all this information that I don't know, so on and so forth. And then you can go and ask it. It keeps track of your stuff. Dude, it's crazy. It's so cool. Anyways, that was totally a sidetrack, but I was asking chat what else I need to talk about. All right, let's see. One of the big things that chat is requesting that I talk about is, what did I get wrong last time with DAW Nation? I've talked about it before, but I'm going to be really, really succinct. Anyways, and so I said, so the number one thing that I got wrong with DAW Nation coming up to this point was overcommitting. That has been something that has plagued me for literally my entire life, right? When I started working out in high school, it's like, yeah, I can work out twice every single day. And then it's like, that's just not sustainable. And, figuring out how to work through that. When I was in college, I took too many classes. It's like, all right, how do I work through that? Taking on too many projects at the same time with DAW Nation, committing to too much, just the number one problem that I faced was overcommitting. And one of the number one consequences of overcommitting is burnout. And I have been in burnout for so long. And perhaps you're in burnout right now too. And burnout, the way that it looks is like you're waking up tired. You can just stare at the screen and feel this fog. It feels like you're like swimming through tar. You are exerting so much effort. So you're not lazy. You're not doing anything. You're absolutely doing stuff and you're working as hard as you can. But everything feels like it's an insane amount of effort to get just the tiniest little thing done. You get extremely discouraged when you realize that, for example, a 3-step process turns into a 36-step process, right? You're like, oh, it's so easy. I just need to do this thing. But wait, before I do that thing, I got to do this and do that. And oh crap, I did that wrong. I got to go back a step. My entire framework's wrong. I got to start over. Okay, now I do this. No, I got it wrong again. How did I not learn? And oh, there's these 4 other steps I got to do. Now I got to go talk to this person about it because I need to get their approval. It's just like, that is so like, that's discouraging for everyone. But when you're in burnout, that's like brings you to the edge of wanting to quit day after day after day. You know what I mean? Not finding joy in the things that you once did. Like, I used to love playing a video game or sitting down and watching a movie, and being in burnout, it's like, yeah, I enjoy it, but it's not a love. Like, I don't feel those feelings. I'm just like, I'd rather do it than not do anything. But like, I can tell the vibrancy is gone, And so there's that, poor mental health, dealing with depression, anxiety, absolutely, that's a part of burnout. It just sucks. Like that is the number one consequence of overcommitting is burnout. And I have been burnt out for years. And if I'm being frank and transparent, I don't know how to get out of it. I'm not going to stop. I'm not going to stop working. I'm not going to give up. But dude, like, it's rough. I've heard people talk about how you have to go to specific types of therapy to heal burnout. Maybe that's what I need to do. I don't know. There's the thing, well, you have to take time for yourself. My guy, I got like 20 kids, okay? Like, I can't do that very well, I wake up, and the second I wake up, I'm getting kids ready for school and taking care of our littlest baby. And, I'm not saying it's just me. Obviously, it's me and my wife. But, I'm doing that. Then I immediately come into work, and I work until like 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Then I spend time with my kids, and I don't get my kids to bed until 9 o'clock. My guy, when do I do it? There's ways to do it. There's ways to figure it out. I know I'm kind of being hyperbolic, and is that hyperbolic? I know I'm kind of, being, I hate to say too extreme or too close-minded, clearly those ways, but that's kind of been the conversation that's been going around and around in my mind forever. And so, just you need to spend time for yourself. It's like my eye starts twitching, and I'm like, okay, that's like telling someone that has cancer, yeah, you need to go to the doctor. You think? Try to figure that out. Anyways, if you have insight into how to heal burnout, I'm begging you. Send me a DM. Send me an email. Write me a letter. Okay? Please, like I need something with that. So yeah, that is what I got wrong last time. I overcommitted on things. I took on way too much, which led to insane burnout that I'm still dealing with now. That's so hard not to do because we get so overly ambitious that like we see something and it's working, and so you get that huge dopamine rush, and so you're like, yeah, let's do it again and again and again, and let's do more. And there's like the toxic work energy where you feel like you always need to be doing something, you feel like you can't rest, and so that plays into it. And yeah, it's a lot. So that's what I got wrong last time. Don't do it. Most of you are going to do it, and I'll be there to hug you when you're burnt out too. We can burn out together. Little pieces of ashes just rubbing it. This is getting weird. Another suggestion that chat is giving me is acknowledging what has the community done, what has the DAW Nation community done to help me continue with all this. So let me just be, again, capital T transparent with this. You all have no idea how much it means to me when you send me DMs or emails and give me any form of encouragement, saying this episode helped me, this course is dope. That one post on Instagram made me laugh so hard I shot milk out of one nose hole. I don't know why your other nose hole isn't shooting that out. You should probably go to the doctor. Anyways, just that kind of stuff helps me so much. I am in this studio, which is dope studio. It's great. It's great place. But, when you are stuck in this studio or any room for 8 to 12 hours a day, for years at a time, you forget that you actually make impact, that you are actually changing people's lives or perspective. Maybe lives is too much, but perspectives and helping people. And like you forget that. And you kind of just get in your own head. And so when you send emails and DMs and you say all these super nice things that you guys have said, like in the Discord and stuff, it like brings so much perspective back into what I'm doing and how I'm doing this for other people and how I'm helping other people. Like I get so caught up in the technical side that I forget that I am influencing and helping organic beings. And it's so nice to have that grounding experience. So there's that. And the amount of understanding and patience that has come from the community, just saying that you trust me and that you trust that I'm working on something amazing behind the scenes and that you have patience with it. It's just, wow. Like I can't explain enough how much that has helped, knowing that you were there and knowing that you helped so much. And so I'm not like seeking validation or anything like that. I'm just, being real that if you feel so inclined to send a nice DM or a nice email, it goes so far. And I'm not just saying that for me. Maybe there's another creator that you're thinking about while I'm saying this. Do it. Just do it. Even if they don't respond, I promise they'll see it somehow, some way, someday, and it will mean the world to them. We're all humans, and we're more visible than some other people, but holy crap, dude, like it means the world when we get something like that. So thank you all if you are one of those people who have done it, thank you. And if you haven't done it yet, I'll take it. I'll take any form of kindness that you'll throw my way. So chat has some other suggestions. I feel like they're things that we've already covered. So let me just wrap up with some need to know things. So if you haven't seen yet, we have an entirely new website. How cool is that? We have moved our website. So just go to dawnation.net. You'll see the whole redesign. If you go log in, all of your courses, all of your packs, all of that should be inside your dashboard now. This took, we're talking like 500,000 lines of custom code to redo everything, to redo the website and the courses and the delivery system and the funnels. And so please go check it out. It is so much code that has went into that to try to make it work. And, probably for the software engineers out there, you're like, only 5,000, my guy? That's it? That's all you got? That's yeah. But this is coming from a guy that has no idea what he's doing, right? And trying things and then deleting them and whatever, and then hiring someone and then trying to tweak the thing that the person I hired made. And it was so much. So go check it out. Check out the new design of the courses. Check out the new design of the funnels and the website. It should be so much cleaner and so much easier to navigate now. So yeah, go check that out. If you try to log into where your courses were before on courses.dawnation.net, it will not work. Okay. It's all underneath one roof now. dawnation.net. Hit the login button And if you don't have a password, just use the magic link or reset your password or whatever. Or if you're having a hard time, please email me. I will help you get in. I promise I will. I'm really proud of our team for putting that together and building that. It's so sick. I don't really know what else to say. I don't know what else to cover. I feel like we covered everything that's been happening in DAW Nation over the last couple of years. I feel like I've been transparent and showed everything and answered all the big questions, as well as talking about what to look forward to, what to plan for. So DAW Nation, if there are any questions that I didn't answer, comment on wherever you're seeing this. If you're on Instagram or if you're on YouTube or Spotify or wherever, let me know, what are the questions that you have? What do you think about all this? Are you excited that we're coming back? Do you not care? Is there other things that you want to see? Do you have different ideas? I just want to hear from you. This is a community, guys, okay? Super transparent. I don't know how many times I've said transparent in this podcast, but this is a super transparent community, and I want to be open and honest about all the things. And so if you have questions, I will answer them. If you have concerns, I will address them. If you have ideas, I will acknowledge them and maybe implement them if I feel so inclined. And so, DAW Nation, this is great. It's great to be back. We're going to be releasing another episode a week from today with Killin' Void, which is a super sick episode. I can't wait for you to check that out. But in the meantime, go check out our courses. Go check out our free downloads. Go check out the other episodes. Do all the things. I'll see you next time. This is kind of an awkward goodbye. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to say goodbye. Peace.